World Wide West, Retired, the channel that encourages men to live better lives by walking, exercising, eating better, and enjoying life from all over the world. Today, we want to encourage you to come along with us as we discuss today's topic, how you living.
So now that I've made the stinky thinking decision of not going to finish up finals and finishing the semester and graduating, I basically have dropped out of school in '89. Only needed one semester worth of courses, but I have no money, don't have a decent job. I am now in survival mode. I'm working to pay rent, buy food. Finally convinced my mom to co-sign for me to get a little Ford Escort. And I remember telling the guy when I went to buy it, because you know how they advertise, oh, we can get anybody a car. We don't care. I had no credit, so convinced my mom. She signed for it. Her credit was good, but she gave me that look, dude, you gotta pay for this. We don't have money. So I remember telling the guy, I said, well, look, I will get this car, but you have to get my payments to $100 a month because that's going to be all I can afford. And at the time, he said, I can do that, I think. So they went through, had to drop the price a few hours, blah, 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 blah. I think 3-4 hours later, we finally got it down to $110 a month. And I said, okay, I'll come up with an extra 10. So got the car for $110 a month. Nobody told me that, hey, you got to have insurance on your car. So a good thing about the military is that you get a USAA is a really good, not a promotion for them, just saying that's what I've used. They've been good to me. They've stuck by me. They've helped me from my college days up into the current time, present time. But I wasn't able to keep up with the car insurance. So eventually, the lien company said, you don't have insurance on your car. So I was like, okay, I don't have insurance. I'll be careful, right? Duh, stinky thinking. Not realizing you got to keep insurance. So lien company came back and said, okay, fine. We'll put some insurance on it just to cover the vehicle itself until it's paid for. So, of course, by the time I pay off the vehicle, I've got to now go back and pay all this money still to the title company because they had to put the insurance on it for the car itself. So finally get there, get that taken care of. I'm done, going on, I'm finished. But I haven't finished school. Now it's 90. We're running around, and the Army comes back and they tell me, hey, life has changed. The wall has come down in Germany. You didn't go to law school. You haven't finished your degree. Therefore, we're just going to send you to the reserves and you're going to be a logistician. At that point in my life, I was like, cool. I'm tired of this struggle of trying to figure out where to get my next dollar to make ends meet. So I went off to school in Southern Virginia. At the time, it was known as Fort Lee, Virginia. I think the name has changed now. But went there, and man, when I got there, believe me, when I tell you I had zero extra dollars. I had a tank of gas. Everything I owned fit in the back of my little Ford Escort. Had a little refrigerator, suitcases, and a few other things, a little boom box. That's all I had. My little clothes. So everything I had was in that Ford Escort. So I get to Fort Lee and I check in, report for duty, hubba, and God knows I was hungry because I really didn't have any food, no money to buy any food. And I remember a lady, she said, "Oh, come over here, have some food with me. I got plenty." And she fed me. About 3 days later, the Army gave me a check. They said, "Okay, this is your per diem, and this is for you to pay for your housing and food while you're here." And it was for $5,000. Oh my God! I was like, "Thank you, Lord." So I paid some of my housing off, and I took that and I went to the grocery store and I bought food. Opened up the bank account, of course, put the money in the bank, went to the grocery store and bought food. But at the time, I didn't know you're not supposed to go to the grocery store hungry. So I bought like $150 worth of food, man. I was like, oh God, I got some food to eat. I'm just happy. I'm good. I got food. Now I had more food and I had space to put it in the refrigerator. So I'm like, okay. So now I'm trying to cook up and eat. Again, stinky thinking, making bad choices. But thanks be to God, His grace and His mercy, it kept me. So I'll go through and finally, long story was that I do get my commission, or I do graduate my military training course for logistics 6 months later, and I'm done. And now I am finished up and I am preparing to figure out what's next in my life. So I knew that I had not finished my degree and I needed to do that. I knew that I needed to do that. And one of the classes I needed was Spanish. I had to have Spanish as my foreign language. So I left Fort Lee, Virginia, and I went to Mexico for a month and I started studying Spanish, and that was going to allow me to complete Spanish levels 1 and 2. Now, if I was thinking, if I was smart enough, I would have went on and did 2 months and knocked out all of Spanish 1 through 4. But again, I didn't realize that's what I should have done. I didn't do that, but that's what I should have done, and I would have been finished with Spanish. So where I'm still at Howard, and I'm now 1 semester away from finishing. I've already gotten my commission. I'm in the Individual Ready Reserve, but during my whole time in Washington and at Howard, I saw some major things. The death of my grandmother, who had always told me, wherever you go, son, find a local church. And I still do that to this day. I make sure I find a local church. And I knew she was praying for me. She would write me letters, check in on me, tell me what was going on. Then she passed in '86, so it was tough. A few years later, I have my father, he gets sick again. I go home for Christmas, I think, in fall of '87. See him, spend some time with him. Again, he's had the major stroke. And as I'm leaving out, he just simply tells me, hey, you be good. And he tells me this about 4 or 5 times. I didn't understand what the deal was when he was telling me all this. So I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to go rob a bank. I ain't trying to stick nobody up. All right, I'm going to be good. Okay, cool. But it was his way of saying goodbye, which I didn't understand at the time. So anyway, by New Year's Eve on, I guess it was 1987, he had another major stroke and heart attack. Lived 2 days. By January 2nd, he had passed of '88. He was gone. Man, I had to all of a sudden now, I was at home a week earlier, we're hanging out, we're talking. A week later, I had to turn around and fly back to Indianapolis and prepare for his homegoing. And talking about tough. Remember, I'm a kid now. Basically, I've seen friends die, and grandmother, seen death at an early age. All those things shape your psychic, your mind. Some good, some bad. Remember, it's about how you respond to life's adversity. Coach Springer taught me that. How are you going to respond to life's adversity? He said, on a football team, when you make a turnover, how did we respond? Defense, are you going to get the ball back? He said it's just like that in life. When you make a mistake, the things happen, how are you going to respond? Well, for me, I did not necessarily respond in the best manner. Just being honest. I made a lot of mistakes. I'm now within 2 weeks of graduating, and I am so burnt out. Working odd jobs, trying to figure things out, not living in the best conditions, living in the projects. I saw the crackheads, I saw the dope fiends, I saw all type of stuff going on around me growing up. This is where I could afford to live in Washington at the time. So all that being said, I was so burnt, mentally, emotionally burnt, that, my mind wasn't right. So I knew I had a problem. So a good buddy of mine is from South Carolina, and he said, hey, it was a semester, I'm going home. And for some reason, I think it was cold in Washington at this time of year. And, this is kind of strange. It was late April. They got a snowstorm or whatever. And I rode to South Carolina with him. Now, I needed to do finals. But just like that colonel had told me, I don't care. You got to come to Rockville. I don't care how you got to do it. I had a I don't care attitude. I ain't got to do nothing. You can't make me do anything. This is one of my friends, pastor over in Indianapolis, call it stinky thinking. I had some stinky thinking. So I wasn't hurting anybody but myself. But bottom line is, I blew finals off. I blew them off. I just said, hey, you know what? Forget it. I don't need a college degree. I don't need to do anything. So that one mistake, I'm not taking that 1 week to get through, ruined the next 4 years of my life. Changed me dramatically. I never expected that type of change to occur in my life. But it did. So, of course, I didn't take finals, and I was not successful that semester. Killed my GPA. Killed it. So now, not only did I not graduate, but my GPA is in the tank.